Lunch Money Lambert, Jeff Malott. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Yeah. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Hey. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation.
Kayak Bass Nation is presented by Dugout Bait and Tackle. Go to dugoutfishing.com to find everything you need for your next kayak bass fishing tournament.
Hope you enjoy the show. Jeff Malott, Lunch Money Lambert, Lego.
Also sponsored by Revo Sunglasses. Go to revo.com, use code KBN25 to save 25% off your next order. Revo, best lenses on earth. Also sponsored by Western Sun Vodka. Go to westernsundistillery.com and use the bottle finder to find a bottle near you.
Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to KBN Live. It is
echoing like crazy. I don't know why.
Let me
turn this off over here.
No Lambert
tonight.
Just me.
See
if I can get some people muted. There we go. Hopefully that sounds better. No Lambert tonight, just me. He has got other business to attend to, but luckily I have some tournament directors from around the country to prop me up like they do everybody else in these events around the country to carry me through the show tonight. We've got Duc Tran, the commish, and we got Josh Boothe from different parts of the country. Some of the best clubs out there, of course, North Texas, the Queen City Kayak Fishing, and MOYAK / All-American Series. It's going to be good stuff. We appreciate those guys taking time tonight to continue with our discussion of rules for these national series and really local series. I've always been of the opinion that the rules work their way from the bottom up. This whole sport's built from the bottom up, and not that these guys are on the bottom by any means. But it doesn't trickle down from the national level. I think the local, state / regional trails are what make everything. So that's why I wanted to have these guys on here. These guys have gone huge. I mean, they basically run a mini national trail where they live. So if anyone knows how to grow things and how to make things work for the anglers, it's going to be them. So I'm anxious to hear their opinions tonight. No Lambert tonight, like I said, just me. I want to give my sponsors a shout out before we jump right into it. I'm going to get these guys in here because I know they're busy guys, especially Vinny. He's down at the TOC. He's TD / angler, so he's pulling double duty. Of course, want to thank Dugout Bait and Tackle. If you guys have seen the ads going around or the shares going around on Facebook, they've got some demo kayaks on sale. You just have to call the shop down there, get with the guys at Dugout, and they will fix you up. Western Sun Vodka, you can see the hat I got on. Got a bottle in the background right there. I've been drinking some Western Sun to drown my sorrow since the Arkansas football team has gone down the toilet. But basketball starts tonight, so I'm hoping to get back on the right foot. So go to westernsundistillery.com, as you heard in the intro, and you can find where they sell it near you. And then last but not least, Revo Sunglasses. We did a Revo giveaway last week. Revo Sunglasses, their slogan is best lenses on earth, and we believe that. Go to revo.com. If you use code KBN25, that will save you some money on your Revos. So get over there and do that. With that said, let's get these guys in here and start talking rules. It is TOC week. It's TOC week, so we're going to anxious to follow that at the end of the week. We'll talk to Vinny a little bit about that. But let's get right into it. Let me get these guys in here. Bang, there they are. Duke's got the black screen. I don't know where he is, but we got Josh, Vinny, Duke. We appreciate you guys joining us, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Yeah. Vinny, how you feeling? You're down there grinding and fishing, and you're still coming on here to talk to us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Doing well. I had fun on the water today, and looking forward to hanging out with you for an hour or so.
Yeah. Awesome. So, like I said, I appreciate you guys. We're going to be waiting for questions from the crowd. I've got a list here that I'm going to rattle off, and we're going to get your opinions on. But before we do that, for those that may not know, just give us each a little background on your respective club and how long you've been building what you've built out your way. So start with you, Vinny, down there in the bottom right.
So I run Queen City Kayak Bass Fishing out of, technically, I guess it's Charlotte, North Carolina. We've kind of grown and we span across both Carolinas pretty good now. We're finishing up season 8. We have one more event November 19th and then our TOC early December. Going into season 9, we're expanding. We're going to start some divisional series in Western North Carolina, and we're going to go a little bit further into South Carolina. So we'll have a main circuit and then 2 divisional circuits, and looking forward to potentially a 3rd circuit in 2024. So big things happening in the Carolinas.
Yes, sir. And then Josh, I know you wear a couple of hats. You've built MOYAK into a force in our region and also the All-American Series. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm the tournament director for MOYAK here in Missouri. We've got a whole bunch. We got live trails. We have a river series. We have an online series. We've got a 2-man team series. So we got a little bit of something for everybody here. We've got a lot of great lakes to fish. So we get to travel. Every tournament's on a different body of water. So we've got really good attendance, good numbers. Also run the All-American Series. It's kind of a new thing. We're just getting started the last couple of years. That's more of a regional Midwestern kind of trail series type thing. So, but it's kind of got like a local club feel to it, even though we do travel. So,
yeah, and I have a hard time calling the All-American Series a Midwestern trail because you guys are just about as national as the rest of them. You guys got a nice footprint with some of the events you have.
Yeah, we run, from Texas to Minnesota, but we kind of stay right there in that central corridor a little bit. And
yeah,
try not to get on the East Coast too much. That was kind of the basis for the All-American Series, was just to fill a void, in that part of the country where there wasn't many big tournaments happening. They all seem to be going, to the southeast part of the country and down south, and so just trying to fill a void.
Yeah, fair enough. I like it. I like what you're all doing there, and the All-American Classic, of course, really kind of came in and filled that void to be able to have clubs qualify for an event kind of like the original TOC was. So that's cool stuff as well there too. And then I was going to go to Duc next, but I don't know what's going on with him. We got the black screen of death up there. I'm going to send him a message. Oh, wait a minute. I got something happened there for a second. It flashed.
Like he was
coming
in hot.
No.
He's the one causing my echo. Damn it, Duc. He was good. He was good earlier.
Take him out and bring him back.
Yeah, I'm going to boot him out. We'll message him, tell him to come back. While I do that, hang on just a second here, boys. We got a big crowd over on YouTube and Facebook. We appreciate you guys. I think there's even a few clicking in here from Twitter, which is wild. I thought everybody was on Twitter for night before the election stuff, but apparently they're watching a little KBN Live too. But wherever you're watching from, we appreciate you. Give us a share to your local group because they're going to want to hear some of this. If you're a new tournament director, share this to your local group because you may want to ask these guys some questions. I know Duc and Josh. I've known them for quite a while, and I kind of cut my teeth running tournaments about the same time they were doing it. So, oh, wait a minute, there we go. Duc, you're back.
Better?
Yeah, there we go. That's much better. Give us a quick intro about how long you've been running trails down there in Texas and what you got going with North Texas Kayak Championships.
I run the North Texas trails. I've been doing it for about going on 7 years now. And then also run, at the end of the year, we have the Lone Star Throwdown, which is all the regional events. Regional directors come together and we host a big event. But yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And a lot of people don't realize this. I still credit Duc to this day for saving the TOC, and then became what it is today. So there you go. Well done, Duc. Well done. So yeah, man, let's just jump right into it. You guys have watched. You may or may not have saw the show we did on the rules with our angler panel with Jay and Jordan, and then Lambert was on here. We talked about some of those rules. We put up some polls on the group page, and then of course you've probably seen the multiple threads about the different things people think need to be changed. So starting off, it seemed like the big talk lately is boundaries / launch locations. So we can go around the horn and tell us what your org does to mitigate or regulate boundaries / launch locations, if they do anything. So Vinny, tell us what's up over in the Carolinas.
I feel like we may become the norm.
Oh, okay.
We've had a ramp list, I want to say from day one, 9 years ago. So I've never ever typed all public access for an event. That drives me nuts as an angler and a director. I think that leaves a lot of stuff up to interpretation and how much you're willing to bend the rules. If you're staying public to get to your public launch, that's a big thing. But we've had a ramp list for years, 8 years. We just started doing maps either this year or last year. I can't remember, but I started making Google Maps, very similar to the one you see for the Hobie TOC. And we pin every ramp that you're allowed to use, and we ask that you check in when you get there. So pretty black and white, in my opinion.
Yeah. And has that ever any pushback on that from the anglers? They like that?
Everybody likes it. There's always people who are going to complain, obviously. The biggest complaint, I guess, would be if we, by accident, forget a ramp and we already say the list is closed, and they want me to add that ramp. I don't like adding it once our promotion for that event has started. I think usually I like a hard cutoff in the beginning of the year. Hey, this is the list. This is what we're going to roll with for the year. But sometimes stuff happens. You guys mentioned it last week or 2 weeks ago. If a campground closes or a new ramp is built and it opens up, it would be stupid on my part to not address that and correct that. I'm not trying to make it harder on the angler. I want every ramp open that is legal access. That's what people don't understand sometimes. They're like, well, why didn't you add this one? Well, you had 8 months to tell me that it wasn't on the list, and you waited until Friday before the event to tell me it wasn't on the list. So what we do, and some people may disagree with this, but come January, I'll make a list. I'll publicize the list that we're going to use, and it's open for discussion. Hey, if there's something I forgot, let me know. We'll get it added now.
Okay, I like that. Josh, we'll just go is that clockwise, counterclockwise? I don't know. Josh, what does MOYAK All-American Series do? Do they marry each other, both orgs?
Yeah, we both do. Basically, yeah, they're the same rules for boundaries. What I go by is the Army Corps of Engineers designated boundary for that lake. Sometimes it's not easy to find those maps online, but once I get the map, it's got the whole boundary of the lake outlined, and so we just allow anybody to launch within that boundary as long as they're out of public access. And then once they've launched, if they want to go up a creek or somewhere farther, they can take off and go as far up as they want, as long as they don't portage over dry land. But they have to come back and take out inbounds again. So, that kind of eliminates the people going 30 miles up a creek, because you got to come back to take back out again. But if you want to go up, what I'm saying, you crossed out those boundary markings. As long as you launch inbounds and take out inbounds, then you can go anywhere you can paddle to. That's our rule.
Okay, I like that. And in Texas, Duc, what do you guys do down there?
Yeah, we similar to what MOYAK and them do. They you have to launch within the boundary, and it's usually if you launch within, like, if we know people can fish in those creeks, as long as you can launch from main body of water and paddle up, you should be good. But there are some but it changes per lake. We have some lakes that are part of river streams, so you actually have to make a hard boundary and say, hey, look, you cannot go past this point, because you can go all the way to the next lake if you really wanted to, which you really don't want people to do. So we do have a hard boundary on some lakes. You do have to do a little bit of leg work, and just tell them you can't go up past this point.
So this is a question from YouTube, Pat Hanning, and this is for any of you guys who want to take it. What do you do about people who want to get dropped off of a creek and take out downstream? So shuttling. What do you guys do about that?
So you want me to start?
Sure. Yeah. Anybody. Grab it.
As long as you're putting in and taking out at 2 ramps that are on the list, you're good by me.
Same here. As long as you're taking in and out at public places, then you can shuttle.
Okay. Duc, same thing?
Yeah, same thing. But that's also why I don't typically do river stream tournaments, because it's no service, and then also this whole ordeal. But
right.
If they want to launch at one end and fish down to the other and have a buddy meet them down there, or their mom or dad or wherever, and pick them up on the other end, but as long as it's a legal spot, I'm okay by it.
So let me ask you guys all this, and like I said, anybody can jump and grab it first. What would you like to see happen? Because the talk is, what are these national trails going to do about this? And I'm sure, knowing you guys and your reputation in the sport, some of these guys on the national level probably have reached out to you about getting your opinion on this. What would you like to see happen with boundaries / launch locations with the BOS or bass, et cetera, out there?
So I'll start, and as I'll speak from a TD and an angler. So I'd like to see a ramp list, and then I primarily fish with Hobie Bass Open Series. So I don't think a hard boundary is as important with that series, being it's man-powered. So if I'm crazy enough and I want to go 10 miles up a creek with my own legs, I think that is something I should be able to do if I physically can do it. If I'm fishing a Bass Open or a KBF event and I can run a motor, then it may be more sense to have a boundary, say 5, 6, 7 miles up a creek, or whatever we decide that hard line is. AJ has boundaries every year at the Susky, a mile up the Juniata, or at the bottom at the dam, stuff like that. But I think a ramp list, I think it's time. It does take some legwork, but I know all the national guys have a team behind them that is willing to help them with that legwork. So that would be my opinion. Man-powered, if they can get there, let them get there. Motored, put a boundary.
About you other two guys, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the ramp list idea is a good one. I mean, if you've got a set defined ramp, like you said, it would take some work to get that put together, but then it would eliminate any questions of where guys are launching, as long as they launch on a ramp that's on that list.
Yep.
I think Vinny hit the ball on the head when he said, use your local guys, have them, ramp list, but use your local resources. Your local guys that they know the lake. Use them to give you a reference, to give you what you should do, launch wise and all that stuff. And even if they need to, go track some stuff down for you, that's what I would do. Just reach out to your local guys and they have your best suggestions on what choices to make.
Yeah.
So just as a prime example, Clarks Hill, that's where our TOC is this year, South Carolina, Georgia border. I don't know that body of water at all. Never been there, never even seen it. Reached out to a local angler. He's part of the club. Not only did he get me every address of every public ramp, but when I had his information, it took me 10 minutes to make.
Here, let me see that. There we go.
Just to make that. I mean, and then you send that to every angler. He's got, not only does he have every ramp, if you can see the orange pin in the middle, that's the weigh-in location, that's the venue. And he can have this link. He can scroll, zoom, change it to satellite. So he can literally, I keep saying he, but he or she can plan their trip around your map. I mean, I'm doing it right now on Caddo. I've never seen this place. So I can work right off this if I'm looking for creeks, or I'm looking for points, or I'm looking for backwaters. So you're not only keeping the sport more standardized, but you're helping your angler. And I think as a director, that's part of your job and something you want to do. My 2 cents.
Yeah. I think, you throw out the word trying to level the playing field, try to level the playing field. And people hear that and they think, you're just knocking on guys that are winning too much or they're going too far. And I don't think that's the case at all. I think you said it right there, Vinny. We're trying to standardize some of these things that can be standardized. You can't standardize lures and rods and kayak brands and those things, but time on the water, where you can fish, where you can launch, those kind of things can easily be standardized, I think.
Look at the 9 to 5 guy like myself who travels into these lakes he's never seen, and you got guys launching in cornfields. Like, I don't know. I have no idea how to find that stuff. So,
right.
It keeps it more of a fair playing field.
Yeah, I like that. Somebody asked, I think it was Mr. Turney X himself, Dwayne Wally, does it matter when we're talking about shuttling a little bit earlier, when within the launch boundaries or defined ramps, let's say, does it matter who drops them off and picks them up? Family members, other competitors, Uber? Does that matter? Or is that out of your realm of worrying about it?
Well, no, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, as long as they're following the rules, getting picked up.
Doesn't matter to me. And also, it also, the no communication rules, does that apply? You can pre-schedule until like, hey, be here, 5:30, wherever it is, pick me up. I'll be ready, and just go. So, you can work around certain rules and get it done.
Yeah, I feel like Yeah, there's so many questions coming in. I feel like we could stay on just the boundaries thing all night long. So,
I mean, if they're good, put them up. You know,
yeah.
Their moment. So,
yeah.
I mean,
First of all,
being a national trail, you know, we've all experienced it when Cody cut off all ramps. He only made on the one of the original Lake Fort TOCs. You can only launch at a designated ramp. That was a hard one on everybody. He heard the wrath of that one. That was
he went with just core ramps, and it was only like 6, wasn't it? Like on the whole lake.
Like
yeah. First of all, Vinny, from YouTube, Josh Williams said, "Is that an app or is that just Google Maps with pins on it?"
That's just Google Maps dropping a pin, and they're purple because we're Queen City, and
I got you.
You know, my guys know to look for a purple star, and this is under the files tab.
All right.
Every lake for the whole year is there, and if I go in and edit it on the back end, it'll renew itself in the files tab automatically. So it's pretty easy, and I'd be willing to help any director that reaches out.
There we go. Kyle Long, who's a RTD here, one of our TDs here in Arkansas, he said, "How many dudes gripe because they either get their launch spot advertised versus not being on the list for anyone?"
Well, you got a list of 30 ramps. You know, I don't know how much that actually matters.
Yeah, they don't say this is Joey Randall's ramp. They just say it's a ramp, right?
Did you say Joey Randall?
Yeah. You don't like put that on there with the pin, right? This is XYZ person's ramp. It's just a ramp.
Yep.
Yeah. So a lot of folks saying that's cool. They like the idea of just defined ramps. Launch restrictions are like NASCAR. Good stuff. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. The next thing on my list, and I'll get back to some of these questions if I can, and take notes on which ones look like they should be thrown on the screen there. The next thing that was the big talking point, and you probably don't do this within your clubs, maybe you do, is the off limits. And should there be an off limits, and if so, how long of a time period? Do you guys have any kind of off limits within your local clubs? We have a small one here. I say local clubs, within your state clubs or your regional clubs.
No, I just say 11:59 the night before.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I had one up until last year. We cut that out. But we have a lot of local guys, so it doesn't really matter too much. When you level the playing field for the national trail, that's a huge difference between a guy that lives 2 hours from the lake and a guy that lives 2 states away.
Yeah, we don't do anything like that for MOYAK, but we are going to implement that for the All-American Series next season. I believe we're going to do the official practice period is going to be the week before the tournament, and then the 2 weeks prior to that will be off limits. Okay.
And I know people have been hammering BOS and Bass about doing something. I mean, Bass already has, I think, a 3-day off limit. You can't pre-fish from Saturday to Tuesday. Maybe that's 4 days. And then official practice from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Some talks about expanding that out further. What do y'all think? Should that be the case on these national events and give everybody the same amount of time on the water?
I could argue both ways.
I think so.
I obviously could understand why it should be done, but then you got the guy like me who rolls in Wednesday night and needs the day and a half to at least see the water. So it's tough, but it's not one of those I would argue either way. I would understand whatever way it goes. The rules when you sign up for an event. You know how much practice you're going to get. So I think whatever an organization does with that rule, I don't think that's too big a deal. I think is KBF like 2 weeks right now before? Or you can't be on a boat for 2 weeks before an event, a real boat.
Yeah, the off limits probably needs to be worded as off the water, not kayak fishing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because people will – the gray areas, as we've talked about many times, you don't want to leave that gray area. Off the water should be the key word, I guess. Yeah. So we'll see what they do with that. That's just another way to level that playing field. So would you guys like to see a week, 2 weeks, bigger for championships maybe? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I mean, I don't ever want to try and hold back anglers. I always try to make it to where anglers are set up to succeed. But I also don't think it's fair that someone can go camp out on a lake for 30, 40 days and fish it every single day. And then you've got, I understand some guys have the argument they don't have enough time off from work to go pre-fish, even for a week. And then there's other guys that have the viewpoint, well, that's not my fault that I have the time to go pre-fish and you don't. So why you got to hold me back because this guy has to work. So to me, I think you just got to find a happy medium of just letting guys have some practice time, but not being able to camp out on the lake for a month.
Yeah. I mean, I don't particularly like basses, pre-fishing for only 3 days, even though it doesn't really matter too much to me because I don't have them. Again, I don't have that many time off. But I would rather see them, a week. If you're giving somebody some time to pre-fish, at least give them the weekend before, because a lot of people that's the only times they can go do it. Bass is still running on the schedule of a professional bass fisherman, which realistically are.
It's not us. I like the BOS TOC rules. I mean, Saturday to until the event starts. I think that's fair. I'm probably extremely against the grain with my Queen City TOC. They get no practice. Everybody goes in blind. I know that's not a reality, but that's the way we do it. So
it's kind of cool, actually, especially for a championship. I like that.
Best angler, if you can figure it out.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
I think Cats did that here for a few years, and I like that a lot. It really ups the ante.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going down to Clarks Hill, and it's been off limit. I know we're talking about my little club, but it's been off limits since November 1st, and we fished December 4th. So
we got the hubby man Steve Fields saying 2 weeks off limits in his opinion. He also wants shotgun starts, even though he didn't say that tonight. He wants all shotgun starts.
Is that the janitor? Is that the guy who cleans up?
Hubby janitor, Steve Fields. Yeah. Aaron Mathis, she's got a question. If you only had smaller lakes and you're getting beat up by 50 plus anglers, would you do an off limits? Most of their lakes out there in Utah are only a couple thousand acres. Fishing pressure, I guess that makes some sense.
Got to add lakes.
Add lakes.
Yeah, bigger lakes.
Yeah, that's how we do a lot of clashes, multi-lake systems for that reason. We outgrew a lot of our local stuff, so we do Carolina Clash, Catawba Clash, multi-lake events. Blind is an equalizer. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, several people saying that they do that. That's cool. Facebook user with no profile says going in blind on the TOC is dope. So I don't know what's going on. Yeah. Yeah. Aaron says that's what I was worried about in Utah. We don't have them. I think California's sucking up all their water. They don't have any lakes out there. They don't have any lakes. So yeah, next on the list, and this was a big one as well, was electronic communication during tournaments. Do you guys, any of you, do anything to mitigate that, or even worry about that?
I don't have it, but I'm not a national series, so I want to make that very clear. We are different, right? Like you said, starts at the bottom. So I physically can't have it. We have a team division built into our system. The reason for the team division is so guys get to know each other. Maybe a veteran pairs up with a rookie and helps him through the year. I don't envision me ever going to that rule or anything like that rule based on what we are. Now, if we were national, it's the same thing. Like I said earlier, I'd understand it. I understand when I sign up for it. But my little local stuff, we're going to stay.
Do you think it needs to be implemented on the national level?
I think it could be. I think there's cliques and groups and, you can break a lake down a lot easier between a handful of people.
Right. I mean, of course, after the day on the lake, there's communication going in houses and at campgrounds, and that's totally cool. That's normal. I mean, everybody does that. I'm just the on the water stuff is what people are concerned with. Josh or Duke, what do y'all think on the national level? What should be done about that, if anything?
What could be done is what I've wondered. I mean, how would you enforce anything like that? That'd be really hard to. You'd just be a he said, she said kind of situation. If someone said, "Oh, I saw him talking on his phone," or maybe the guy, "Oh, it was an emergency," and there's safety issues involved. I mean, it's not right that a couple, 2 or 3 people can split up on a lake and call each other and say, "Hey, they're biting on this over here. Come to this part of the lake." That's not very sportsmanlike. But like I said, once again, I mean, what could anybody do to patrol that?
Yeah. And what I really hate on some of these big trails, like adapts these rules, they create a rule to like a scare tactic, and they do something they really can't enforce, and I really don't like that. Where I know of a big trail that kind of did that. No talking to anybody, but that you can post up your submissions, or you can post up promoting the event. You can post up on social media. I'm like, well, if you it's kind of like a double-edged sword. if you can't do it, you can't do it. You can't do one thing and not do the other. It's
Yeah.
kind of like.
And I think that's something maybe we all need to think about as we push for tighter rules and regs on these national trails, is not to go off the deep end into some kind of police state at these tournaments with too many, and like Josh said, unenforceable rules and regs. How are you going to get there? So, would you say there's a fine line there as well?
Yeah, absolutely. We still got to keep it fun at some point.
Yeah.
It's got to be a little bit fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
For sure.
It's got to be a little bit me and my roommate here still being able to talk on the water tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
So,
I feel like on the water communication is cool. Like if you're fishing with someone or around someone, before and after the tournament, I think is cool. I just, like I said, I don't know that you should be on a conference call saying, yeah, they're biting on pink flukes and everybody switches to that bait. You know what I mean? So
I don't have that with me.
But as Josh said, I don't know how you enforce that. I know people push polygraphs. I'd like to see that. I know that's not enforced, doesn't stand up in a court of law, yada, 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 but it's still a deterrent. Do y'all think that would be an effective way to police some of these rules? Is poly everybody that wins?
I think it just opens up a ton of more issues, right? Because now the guy fails and now you want to take his money away and now you're in court with something that we all know is probably not going to hold up in court. So, good deterrent, but I think it opens up more problems potentially.
Dude, everybody put their phones in a bag at the check-in and uses digital cameras. We go backwards to SD cards.
Oh man,
that'd be the end of us all. That'd be the end of the tournament. Can you imagine? Yeah, and that kind of ties in with info rules. Is that something that y'all even worry about, or do we need to worry about on the national level as far as buying info, getting info, fishing with guides, all those kind of things? Once again, that's one of those things. How do you prove that?
Exactly.
Yeah, but that definitely needs to be in a rule though, because somebody hiring a guide right before a tournament, that can't that can't be good. I mean,
yeah, no, or just having buddies fish for them right before a tournament is really probably not good.
But it's still got to be in the rule, even though something like that, it's got to be in the rule because, again, if let's just say there's nothing there against it, so one or two guys does it, hey, somebody found out these guys hired a guide, they did well, so somebody's going to do it.
Ryan and I talked about the snowball effect of these gray areas. When people find out one person's doing it, when they find out one person's got a backhoe and a chainsaw, then they're going to try to get one. And then the next person's going to try to get one. And then there you go. Everybody's, got a ultralight kayak, a chainsaw, and a bobcat, and they're heading back into some But I mean, that's what happens. I'm exaggerating, but it pushes people to do things they wouldn't normally do if they think it's okay. If they think it's okay. Earlier, Levi Schneider said, did we ever get that Discord going on Dardanelle? I actually did set it up, but I forgot about it myself, even though I'm the one that set it up and didn't do it. KBN does have a Discord channel now over there, and where you can voice chat and stuff. And I was going to try to get it going on Dardanelle to kind of stick our nose up at this whole Bluetooth gang conspiracy theory out there and just talk smack during the tournament, but it never came together. Didn't come together at all. We didn't even try it. I forgot about it. Let's see. Any more questions before we go on to the next topic? People saying y'all don't carry chainsaws. Jeff Sherwood asked, do you guys allow motors on all your trails? No motors, any?
No, manpower.
Josh, yes. Duke, yes.
One.
All right. Any of you heard any talk of multi-motors from your anglers wanting that? Front, bow and stern. People want that?
Yep.
Had two guys ask me.
Okay. Vinny's just laughing up there. He's just laughing up there. We're going with scamps and whatnot. Big old floating decks with motors. Yeah, some people in the comments saying some stuff that really doesn't make a lot of sense. You have their numbers and you can shut their phones off. I don't think you can do that. I don't think Tourney X can do that. You can't shut down phone calls on the water.
Wayne can write it in.
Yeah, come on, Wayne. Step it up. Clifton Allen's in the comments asking from YouTube. I don't know if he's banned from Facebook, but he's asking when's the schedule's going to be out. Bring back Levon, he said. Dude.
No, we're not bringing back Levon.
Have any of you guys had anyone ask to ban LiveScope? Kyle said we've had a few here. Anyone asked for that?
They didn't ask for it, but they asked if I was considering it, and I laughed at them.
Yeah, I feel that.
I mean, come on, man. You still got to catch them, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've seen guys stare at their screen all day long and miss like 4 hours, 5 hours of actual fishing because they couldn't get the fish that bit yesterday to bite today. So it's again that double-edged sword. So
yeah, I'm not going down that rabbit hole. If you want to have 2 graphs, you want to run side scan, mega, live, all the stuff that I got outside in the driveway, go for it. If it helps you, congratulations.
Yep.
If not, Drew Gregory's going to whoop your tail in a 10-foot, 50-pound kayak anyway. So
my answer to that would be, Drew, Jordan, these guys that are winning AOI out there on these big trails don't even have graphs at all, but half the time. So I think it's just fine. Now, I think it's a weapon when the bite's on and they're suspended and you're catching them on that. You dang right it's a weapon, but it's not always the deal at all.
Yeah, I heard the smarter trails are banning the use of spot lock and live scope altogether together at once.
Really?
Yeah.
Like smaller kayak trails?
Oh no, the California trails.
Really?
California time when you're allowed to breathe.
Wow. Anybody from Cali on? We got a Tim Arthur sighting in the comments. Tell us if that's true out there, buddy.
I read that too. I thought I read it on KBM.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's right. Damn, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Damn, you are getting old, Jeff.
You're right. I am. I'm a grandfather now, dude. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Kyle said it ain't happening. Use it all you want. That's what most people are saying. I think that's just one of those things. I want to say it will run its course, but it'll just become commonplace and people won't be too worried about it, after a few years. Let's see. People get their feelings hurt by Damian Tao too much, they said out there. Crazy. All right, so let's get this from you, and I'm going to wait. If you have questions for these directors about a specific issue, throw them in the comments, and I'll throw them on the screen. But let's go around the horn. We'll start with Duc, because in the comments when I announced this show, some people were asking, they were talking, they're new tournament directors. And they're like, oh, I can't wait to watch this. I'm new to this. I'm just starting a trail. I've been doing a trail a year. They wanted to get some advice. So as someone that's been doing it a while, Duc, what advice would you shoot out to a new or beginning tournament director?
Solidify your rules and get a couple of good guys to back you up on. You can't do it alone. I can guarantee you that you can't do it alone. I have Tracy, and I have a couple of other guys that help me in the background. Actually, Tracy runs the trail this year. I being stuck at Mariner Sales every Saturday, it's hard for me to do anything. I get to fish 3 or 4 times a year, tournament wise. So it's hard for me to do anything else. But yeah, get a couple of guys to help you out. Reach out to your local retailers. Reach out to it's all about who you know. It really is. And solidify your rules. Yeah, and stand behind them no matter who breaks it, even if it's your best friend.
Amen.
Yeah, that's he's right. That's the number one thing is get your rules locked in so that there's no gray areas that somebody can go into and complain about somebody else or something, and it can cause drama and problems, and it snowballs from there. If your rules are locked in and solid and you stand by them, then it's always a fair standard. Everybody's following the same rules, so it helps a lot that way. Also, keep track of everything you do as far as your expenses and your spending goes. Every little penny that you spend, track it, or you could, if you get big enough, you could end up paying some taxes at the end of the year. So track everything you do.
Yeah. Vinny?
I agree with the rules thing. I would just say build a strong foundation. That way next year and the year after that, when you do have to make a change, it's a minor change. It's we're going from plastic to metal board, or we're going from 3 fish to 4 fish. It's not a complete gutting of what you started and try to start something new. I feel like when little clubs make big changes, they disappear. The club disappears. So start slow, build slow, do it the right way, follow your strong rules, DQ, get rid of whoever you have to get rid of. And then remember as a director that you are working for the angler. Go out and find support, go out and find sponsors, go out and find companies that are going to help you build what you're doing, and make it worth it for people to want to come fish with you.
Yep.
All right. And we're going to tag on to what you just said about sponsors, Vinny. with Jacob's question on Facebook. He said, what advice would you give to a director about attracting more / better sponsors? And how about sponsors giving cash over product? So I know all of you, I've seen all of you have done a great job building bridges and relationships with sponsors. So, give some advice to a TD about that.
I think you have to start somewhere before you go out trying to grab up some money. If you don't have something that is worth selling, nobody's going to buy it. So, Queen City's pretty large. We bring in a lot of money. We're going to pay back about $130,000 this year. So there's money coming in and out of the company. But we have a lot of eyes on us. So it's advertising, right? Companies are usually going to make money when they advertise with us. If you're trying to advertise your 10-person club, there's no point for that company to give money to you. That's just blunt truth. So build up slow, and then as you start getting more eyes on you, then you can approach somebody for some money.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically all there is to it. A company, they want a return on their investment. They're not just going to give you something for nothing. And so you have to prove to that company or show that company how you can help them, how you can give them that return on their investment, which is usually by numbers, advertising, pictures with logos, and and that social media promotions, and how many eyeballs you get on each event. That all has a value to it. So build your worth, and then approach some of these businesses and explain to them, hey, here's what I can do for you. What can you do for me in return? And then go from there and just kind of build, and it'll just keep building on top of each other. You get one, then you'll get another, and they'll snowball on top of each other and kind of work together too. So
as long as you're doing it right.
As long as you're doing it right. And just remember, a lot of it begins with your social media. It really does begin. Very first route is your social media. Build that up. Make sure you get noticed. Post a lot. First product, use it, promote it. I hate to say it, but be a product whore. But I mean, you really have to. People, they have to see your product. They have to see the product. They have to see what you're doing, and getting it out there.
Jeff's got no sense. He's got no sense.
No. It's called product placement, Vinny. I had a cord in the way.
Oh, you didn't see me think that?
Yeah, I saw you, man. I saw you. Yeah, you guys are three of the best at that. So great advice. Let's see some other stuff. Jesse Howerson, best advice: don't do it. You'll lose your sanity. It's definitely hard life, man. I ran tournaments for years. I'm thankful that Kyle Long and James Whitted, those guys in Arkansas, are running the show now. Let's see. There was another question. Oh, here you go, from YouTube. Josh Hawks. Why are some tournament directors cool with the electronics, but when it comes to motors, they draw the line?
He's definitely speaking to me. He's not talking to us. You might as well just put Vinny in the comments.
Yeah.
Listen, I covered so much water today. I run a motor when I'm allowed to, right, for fun and for practice. I'm running a Newport outside. I covered so much water today and eliminated or maybe found some stuff that I would never have been able to do in a man-powered event or man-powered practice. The physical advantage of a motor is absolutely insane. The first motor event I fished in April this year, I think I got fourth on Hartwell. It was the South Carolina Bass Nation. There's no way I could have did what I did in that tournament man-powered. I was running to the backs of creeks, catching fish on beds, running out. Running to the next back, catching fish, running out. Man-powered, physically impossible. So it's just a big physical advantage, and I just don't think it's right to essentially force someone to spend, just call it $3,000 by the time you add everything into it, to be able to compete with the next guy. Where electronics, like you said, Drew's not running it, Jordan's not running it, I don't have to run it, right? So, and you can still compete. But I don't want to be out there with a guy paddling 1.5 miles an hour to a point, and the next guy's doing 6.5 miles an hour with an 1103. So that to me is a whole nother spectrum of advantage. And you don't have to agree. Whoever put the question up there, it probably doesn't agree. And I know there's plenty who don't, but I'm surrounded by motor clubs, and if they want to go, they can go.
Yeah.
You know,
one of the reasons I got into the sport back in the day was My basketball days were numbered because of some injuries and things. And I was paddling. I just liked the idea of physically battling the elements and trying to get as far as you can get. Now I run a motor now because you're allowed to, and I've got an autopilot and love the boat, to be honest. But I still, with my broken down self, enjoy the physical aspect of the manpower tournaments.
Well, last year, and I've said this publicly numerous times, I pre-fished for 5 or 6 days for the Eufaula TOC, and by the time Friday came, I was wiped, and all these guys were running motors all week, and I wasn't. I didn't have a motor. So I was man-powered all week, and then man-powered through 3 days on Eufaula fishing an offshore bite. I was exhausted, absolutely exhausted, and after that event, I went out and got a motor. I was like, well, let's practice for a week straight, and they're doing it. I'm going to do it too. So this year, I didn't use my legs at all today.
Josh said, thanks for the response. Appreciate your question, Josh, over there. And we got another Josh saying he's going to kick push till he dies. There we go. Somebody asked about AOY points. How do you guys run your AOYs? They said, how do you set up points per tourney? 100 points, 99 points, second, the typical, 199 descending points, or do you guys have some different ways of doing it?
I'll let somebody else start.
Yeah, ours is similar to that, but we don't start at 100 because then you're limited to only having 100 people in a tournament. What happens if you got 120 people? Then, how are you going to do points then? So we start at 300 and then go down in 5-point increments for the first 10 spots, and then it goes 4-point increments after that, and it slowly goes down to 1-point increments. It's my webmaster Troy Anke. He's a big reason that MOYAK is as successful as it is. He's got this really amazing computer software program built to where we can just plug in the tournament results at the end of the tournament, and it instantly calculates our angler of the year points for us. And it's done the next day. So it's really cool how he's got that set up. But yeah, we use the number system, but like I said, you got to start high and think about, growth, because you will. We had 157 at one tournament this year. So you've got to have room for more points to be awarded to more anglers. Yeah.
Duke, what do you guys do over there?
We start at depending on the year, we do start out a little bit higher than 100, and then we go downwards. But yeah, that's typically it. I was thinking about changing to the actual point system to your actual score to be a little bit more challenging. But I still have to discuss it with the PD group.
Yeah, I got a message before the show. Andy Middleton down in the Southeast, their club runs a weighted AOY point system, and I couldn't get more details about it. I wish he was able to call in or be in the chat or something, but I don't think he could be here tonight to talk about that. To where they base their AOY points on participation for said event is the way I took that. It's if one event has 50 anglers and another has 125, the 125 one's weighted heavier towards AOY points. What do y'all think of that?
I did that my first year or two with Queen City, and we got away from it. Somebody could win an event, and even though they won the event, they still don't win AOY at the end of the year because it was a smaller event. A win is a win. I mean, if you can only beat who shows up. That's how I look at it, right? If I win a 20-person event, that's it. Those are the 20 people who cared to show up that day. I beat them. If I win a 50-person TOC, those are the 50 people I beat. So our point system is similar to Josh. It's 300 points. It drops by 5 for the first 5. Then it drops by 4 for the next 5. Then 3 for the next 5, and then -2 all the way through. And we've had some large events. It keeps the race for the year close, and that's a big thing for directors who are listening. You don't want to give your guys a chance to not come to an event late in the year. You need your race to be close, whether it's your AOY race or it's to get into your whatever you call your final event. Ours is TOC. To get into your TOC. I have honestly probably 15 or 20 guys battling for the last 5 spots to get into the TOC. So they're going to come November 19th. They have to. And I really do like the point system. It's worked out really well. I forget where I stole it from. It's been 7 years or so.
Yeah, and that's something back when I was running tournaments, and Duke and Josh, you probably experienced this too, is I had to learn how to fight that downward curve of the season. You had to figure out a way to not have that happen, because you'd have some guys show up early. Maybe they didn't do so great. And then why am I going to show up the rest of the year? I'm not going to sweeten the pot for the rest of these people. So you had to change, whether it's point systems or classics / TOCs, whatever, to keep them engaged all the way until the end. So that's good stuff. Good advice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All directors need that. So if you're new and you're listening, find a way to keep them involved until the last moment.
Yep. We select the better lakes at the end. So you know,
backload it. I like that. Yeah.
We do a win and in. If you fished your minimum for the year, which is 7 for Queen City, and you win, you're in. So you could suck for the first 6 and win your 7th one, and you're in automatically. Or you could get a top 5 at any point, and you get put in the wild card event, what we call the fish off, and then top 2 from the fish off qualify for the TOC. So it's just hitting them with numerous reasons to show up. Oh, I could win today, or I could finish top 5 today, or my points, and they have to come. We had 90 2 weekends ago. We had 90, and 90 in October is pretty good turnout. So
yeah, that's awesome. Another question from Facebook: do you guys have membership fees? That's always been a hot topic, at least where I'm from. It feels like anglers don't mind going out and paying a membership fee to KBF or Bass or whoever it may be. But when you start talking about the people you know and giving them $25, they freak out. They don't like that, man.
So yeah, we haven't done that at all, but we are going to do that this following year. We're probably going to do $20 or $25 membership fee, and that's just like I said. As most tournament directors know, your first few years, everything comes out of your own pocket. It comes from the bank of Duc Tran. Gas, lodging, all that good stuff. And Tracy's been helping out for the last 2 years, and I just think it's fair for them to, for him to not have to pay his own gas and all that stuff every time he goes out somewhere. So that we're gonna help cover that.
Yeah, we have membership fees for MOYAK, and that's basically, when I first kind of started out, we didn't have a whole lot of sponsors, and so that was my operating budget for the year was the membership dues. I used that money to get any permits I needed or venue locations reserved and the trophies ordered and all that stuff like that. So that was kind of like the annual budget was what I used for the membership dues for MOYAK.
Yeah, and if you want to put a good product out there as a tournament director, you can run a kind of a low budget trail and just be a trunk slammers deal, in the parking lot. But if you want to put on a good trail, it costs money. And like I said, it gets old quick coming out of your own pocket, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Backdrops and trophies, and your trophies are too small. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Pay your membership fee next year.
That's right.
Oh man. Yep.
So we have it. We've remained. Technically, we're still optional. So Jeff, you could show up on the 19th and fish Santee, and you wouldn't have to pay a membership fee. We keep it where if you want to earn points and fight for the TOC and the AOI, you have to pay your membership fee. But we travel a good bit, 3 hours in any direction, and I want the hometown guy to fish that event. So I don't want him to have to pay the $65 entry fee plus the $45 membership just to fish one tournament, because then he's probably not going to do it. But when we go down to Santee, we pull a lot of locals. So just to show up and fish, no problem, no membership fee. But if you want to earn all the cool stuff we do, the free kayaks, the year-long awards, the AOI, all that good stuff, it's $45 once per calendar year.
Okay, that's fair. And I've heard other clubs do that. You pay to play in the AOI and all the other stuff, but if you just want to one-time it, you're good. Yep. You guys do that too, right, Josh, for the Series?
Yeah, we do the exact same thing for MOYAK and the All-American. You don't have to. Well, actually, we're going to change the All-American next year to membership is going to be required. It's a whole nother ball of worms that was opened up this year. Some people complaining because there's always people that want to complain about stuff, but we're going to make some adjustments on that. But for MOYAK, no.
Do you guys throw out a tournament in your AOI? Is there drops, or is it all events count?
We take the best 5 of 7. So there's two drops.
Commish, what about you?
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10, Duke?
Yeah, I have 2 drops on our trail too.
All right, fair enough. Steve Fields says $8 to get verified on Twitter. LOL. Yeah. I think I'm going to get the KBN account verified just to do it, so I get a blue check mark.
Just so you get the check mark.
So I get the check mark. I can be just like all the big wigs over there with our couple hundred followers. Good stuff. Keep the questions coming. Somebody asked, Josh Hawks on YouTube, how do you guys feel about virtual events counting towards AOI? Do you do that? Do you have like any online stuff that goes towards your AOI?
I run I run 12 online events a year, 1 per month. Next year I'll run 24, 1 for North Carolina, 1 for South Carolina, but they are all completely separate. No points involved. Show up, fish, follow the rules, and get paid.
Excellent. I'm going to keep watching for the questions. We've been riding well over 100 live viewers all night. We appreciate you guys being on here and mixing it up with us in the comments. I wanted to ask you guys this, and whoever wants to take it first can. And I know for a fact, seeing the comments, some of these folks are the tournament directors or new tournament directors that were in the post comments yesterday and today. So they'll want to hear this answer. Tell me something that someone has never been a tournament director, maybe is new to it, or just has never done it, something they don't understand or don't understand about the job.
24/7, 365.
It's a job.
Nothing else needed.
It's a free job that you're doing for free. But another thing I want to bring up is to the new guys, new TDs. PayPal is the necessary devil. I mean,
hopefully we can get away from that next year. I think Attorney X is going to get off of pound. Dwayne's working on a way to get us off of PayPal on Attorney X. So hopefully that'll be an upcoming change, because PayPal sucks. You're going to have to deduct money from everybody's entry fee before you even start to calculate your payouts.
Yeah.
So,
have you guys had issues with them trying to deduct out of actual payments too?
Yeah, if you're they changed it now to where if it's a business account, you can't send it to it without getting the fees deducted for it. So an angler has to have an individual account in order to not get more fees taken out of it. It's crazy.
They're trying to take money out, coming in and out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if it's to a business, yeah. If it's to a regular friends and family, no. But it's one of those things. I told Dwayne straight up, I would probably stay with PayPal simply because they provide me with tax paperwork and they track my $100,000 in and out, and I don't want to go to jail. So
That does come in handy.
Yeah, and to those new tournament anglers, again, even if you're not the TD, PayPal is the devil, but it is the necessary evil. Please stop paying with your credit card over PayPal, and then when I send you a PayPal payment, it gets locked in limbo for a month because you don't have PayPal. That's the worst.
So I hope that some of the bigger leagues, I don't know how the technical back end of this stuff works, but I've gotten into another little small hobby doing some cornhole tournaments for fun in the off season. And the organization over there, their website, they have virtual wallet. Like once you pay, all transactions take place there. There's no PayPal, there's no Stripe, there's no anything. So I don't know what it takes to set up something on the back end like that, but that'd be legit for some of the large organizations to look into, I think, to be able to fund that virtual wallet and take money to and from it. And I'm sure there's probably a fee, but much less than what PayPal is doing to people.
Can I piggyback off Duke? So you guys are starting trails and you want to use PayPal because he said tonight that you should use PayPal. But understand that everything you do through PayPal is tracked. And if you're not a legal entity, you're going to get hit and you're going to get in trouble. And, you need to be either an LLC or a 503. There's only a limited amount of transactions you can do through PayPal. And all those dollars are going to be your problem if people aren't paying taxes on them, if you don't do it legally. So it is a big responsibility to be a tournament director. It's not a game, unless you're just going to live on the side of risk, which, as a career man with, husband, dad, owning the house, I wasn't going to do that. So, we are a legal entity, as I'm sure you guys are as well. And directors who are listening who are not legal entities, you need to think about that.
We got another quick question here. I'm not going to keep you guys much longer. Ryan Thompson said, how do you decide on what format, 3, 4, or 5 fish per day tournaments? I think the standard is 5, but a lot of the organizations run 3. What do you guys run? Do you guys run 3, Vinny, or is it 5? 4. Okay, right in the middle, 4. Josh and Duke, I know from following you guys, it's 5, right?
Yeah, 5.
Yeah. I just never wanted to change. We just started that way and we never changed.
Okay. And what does that have people targeting bigger fish, or how does that seem to work out for you?
It's a good blend. I think it's a good blend. That 17 to 18 inch range usually gets it done. If you got 72 inches, you're definitely getting paid. Some days you're winning, but if you got 419s and you're in that 76 range, you're definitely winning. So it's a good blend, man. But you still got on a local trail, your everyday angler, your weekend angler, you still have half the field not putting a limit in. So going to 5 is only going to hurt those guys more.
I was going to say, does that help with that retention? Like, it feels good to have a limit, so the more people end up with a 4-fish limit and they feel a little bit better about coming back.
Yeah, I think so. The reason we started it that way is I just didn't want to be like everybody else when we started. And back in the day, we're talking almost 10 years ago now, it was either 3 or 5. So I just like to be different if you don't know me. And that was my way of being different. We were going to jump in at 4 and kind of see what happened. And here we are in 2022 and we're still 4. So
look at this. Randy Dotson from Lone Star wants to do a 10-fish turn. He wants to go back to the old Bass Elite Series stuff. 10 fish.
He should check out the Big Bass Power Hour events we're putting on this year and next year.
Yeah. You guys coming to my area next year, Vinny? You guys work anything out over in this middle of the country? Come on, man.
I might come to the guy below you's area.
Well, that's my area. I'm like an hour from Josh, so that's easy.
Oh, so he's not below you on my screen.
Oh, okay. Well, Texas ain't that far either, brother. Texas ain't that far either.
Tell me where I gotta go. Where do I gotta go, Duke? Where am I going if I come into Texas?
Message me. It all varies on the time of year, man. You got a few popular lakes we gotta maneuver around a couple of big bass boat events. So
I might throw you in a group chat.
Yeah. As long as we're not hitting freaking fork on one of the big Berkeley events or something like that. 2,000 bass boats. We should be okay.
No, I don't want to do that.
Good stuff. Well, gentlemen, I'm not going to keep you much longer. We've been at it an hour. I think you shared some fantastic insight into what it takes to be a successful TD. You gave some folks some good advice that are just starting out, and some really good advice for some of the national folks that are watching to take that and take it back to their committees or boards or whoever is making those decisions. So excited to see what happens in the future. I appreciate y'all taking the time to get on here, like I said, share your opinion with us tonight. That was great. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks.
For having us.
And Vinny, good luck at TOC, man. We'll be pulling for you.
Thanks,
down there.
brother.
TDs unite for Vinny. Pull for Vinny. Woo! Yeah.
Good luck, Vinny.
Yeah, but we'll be back next Monday, hopefully with the TOC winner. Put your
I'm coming back.
Yeah, you'll be back. You'll be back, Vinny, with the TOC winner. We'll see who that is. But for tonight, I'm just going to say thank you, everybody, for making that such a huge success, the show. We missed Ryan, but we pulled it off anyway. Appreciate everybody jumping on here. We're going to wrap it up. We're gone.